Hello and welcome to GamerDNA GamerDNA Townhall number 2.
Yeah. Segment number 4.
Segment number 4. This one is about a bunch of different feature requests and just sort of miscellaneous questions. So thanks for joining us. This is QforQ, ChangeAgent, and we'll just dive right in. So we've got Favo Giuseppe, and they asked, are we going to be able to see what the default tab, are we going to be able to set the default tab on the Games gadget on your member home? So your home page that you see when you log in, there's a gadget on the far right. It defaults to your friends playing, so it'll show you the top games that your friends are playing. But actually, you can also click the different tabs and it saves that. So Favo Giuseppe was asking and basically saying that that must not work for them, and just please let us know if it's not working for you. But you should be able to click a tab and it'll remember what tab, and even the platform that you set on the little drop down, it should remember all of that.
Yeah, it's worth noting, like in a lot of places we do this, where if you pick a filter or you pick a tab or you set something on a gadget on a game page or in your member home, it'll remember that the next time you come back. So you always have to know what you picked last time, but they should all remember your settings. I mean, that's how we built it, so it should work.
Yeah, if it doesn't, just go to GamerDNA.com/feedback, let us know, and we'll try to help you out. This next question's from Wastelander75. They asked, could there be a page that would list the game releases for every month, or even one that would list upcoming DLC?
So yeah, we used to have a release calendar on the site. We actually took it off because the data, again, coming back to an earlier segment, I mean, the data is just really hard to manage. Release dates get changed, they get, put in at different times, and then those times change, and so it's really hard to just manage when the release dates are accurate. So we ended up having a release calendar with a lot of inaccurate data on it, or incomplete data. So instead what we've been doing is sort of scaling that back a bit. So on your Games gadget there's a new tab and an upcoming tab. The new tab is anything with a release date in the last 2 weeks will be up there that your friends are contributing to or playing. The upcoming tab is anything that hasn't been released yet that your friends are contributing to. So those simple versions allow you to get a good sense of what your community of gamers is looking forward to that's new or upcoming. We're looking at how we can maybe bring this back in a version of a game page that we're going to be looking at adding to the site. So we'll have to look for it. Not optimistic on a release date calendar, just due to the data work that we saw in the past, but we'll see what we can do.
Alrighty, cool. This next question is from Diablo 0721 and the Argoff 31. They asked, could GamerDNA create some kind of calendar tool / utility that would enable members to coordinate events with their followers?
Yeah, so this is a very common request. Unfortunately, it's just a lot of work there. We're still just working on the mechanics of making the interactions work the way we want them to. Our guild hosting system has some rudimentary event management in it. We definitely recognize that it would be fun to bring that up to the individual level to allow individuals to schedule play sessions. It's really just a matter of the works. There's just no immediate plans to do anything like that. But you never know. It's always an option.
Alrighty. This next question is from Tejul. They asked, are there any plans to implement some sort of gameplay stats page for games? For instance, like the number of players per game per week, the average hours per player, and other data that we collect.
Yeah, so we currently, if you've been to the non-logged in homepage, it's just the general homepage for GamerDNA, there's a lot of trend data on there. We're currently revamping that a little bit to be more accurate and easier to understand. We're also looking at how, like right now when you click the Games button in the top navigation, you just go to the directory. We're looking at creating a Games index page that will take a bunch of this types of information and roll it up so that you can just easily see and explore some of the trends happening on GamerDNA. So yeah, we're definitely looking at that, and we'll see what we can do. The big challenge there is what types of stats do you pick, because Xbox 360 games, we have things like gamerscore, achievements. We don't have like hours played. Things like Xfire, we have hours played, but not gamerscore and achievements. So trying to normalize all that and figure out the best stats that are interesting and apply to the broadest number of games possible is the biggest challenge that we're looking at.
Alright, this next question is from Earthbound X, and they asked, is there a page that shows the people with the highest amount of followers?
Currently there isn't, but that's one of the things we want to add to the directory, the player directory. So to be able to go to the player directory and then as one of your filters or sorts, say sort by number of followers. So we've talked about that. We just have to find the time to fit in some of the other player directory enhancements we want to make, like the ability to sort by platform, cleaning up the location search, cleaning up the game search, those types of things. So it's on the list for sure.
This next question is from Bone Main and Torner. They asked, are there any plans to support competitive gaming sites like Game Battles or similar sites? And just in general, some of these really hardcore things like Sargonis's thing, I know where he's coming from. It's just that these competitive gaming sites, our audience, our community at GamerDNA of hardcore isn't that huge. So again, it's sort of tough to justify the amount of time and resources that would be needed to support stuff from Game Battles, to import things from those different sites. We'd much rather do something that much more people could enjoy, but we totally recognize that there are some hardcore folks out there that would like these sorts of features.
Yeah, when it comes to data integration, it really comes down to ease, and in a lot of cases, if these services have really clean APIs that we can call, and then it's not as hard. We'd have an AK for Game Battles, and just like these other ones, if we could call an easy API every day, it might work. But yeah, anytime we look at any of this stuff, we're always looking at sort of what's the coverage we're going to get, and how do we justify that work. So for sure, we're definitely looking at it.
All right, it just got a little bit darker. I think his sun went behind the clouds, so if we're a little bit darker, I apologize. But this next question is from Michael Guyden and Torner, and they asked, will we be able to embed videos and even live video from sites like Xfire and other similar media into our game posts?
Yeah, so we mentioned this in an earlier segment, but we're looking at how we create a richer interface for entering game activities in game posts. So the ability to insert a video and have that video be in a player off of YouTube or Xfire is definitely something that we're looking at. So definitely the options are there.
Yeah, we're coming in under time a little bit, so we could, that's some really cool stuff there.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
We definitely want to add it. This last question is from Wayne M. Smith and Tamara Lane. They said, are there any plans to speed up the site at all? They noticed that the site was slow since the relaunch, the big product feature push that we did a couple weeks ago.
So yeah, this is it's a balancing act, because everyone wants more stats, more ease of use, but it contributes to some performance issues. So definitely the biggest performance issues we were seeing were the ones related to the sheer number of comments that were on threads. So the slowest page on the site was your member home, because when you would load it, it would load your gamer current, it would load all the comments and all the people from every thread that was in that gamer current. We fixed that today or yesterday, so now it should only load the top level stuff, and it doesn't load the sub pages until you actually click and expand. That is going to drastically increase the performance of that page. You should see some pretty significant upticks. In general, though, I'd be interested if there's any specific pages that that are extra slow, because we have some pretty sophisticated ways of measuring just the average performance of the site, the response rate of every request, the numbers of requests we get, the database load, the server load. So we definitely, before we launched the new version of the site, the metrics were terrible. And now that we've launched the new version of the site, things are amazingly better. So on average, you should see pretty good performance on almost every page but member home prior to yesterday. Even member home today is still going to be a little bit slower, because there's just so much data that we're doing with the alerts and the game lists and the tracking of presence and the gamer currents and the highlight component. So there's just a lot on that page, so that it just has to run and do that. So if there's specific pages that you think are performing bad, definitely send us feedback at GamerDNA.com/feedback, and we can look into those pages and see why they're performing so poorly.
All right, guys. So that wraps it up for this fourth segment. And so we've got one last one with a couple more questions about some features and a couple other community things. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the next segment.